All right, the time is 2 p.m. Everyone, are you able to hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, good afternoon, everyone.
Good
Is,
afternoon.
Your Honor.
is the jail
Good
on the screen? They are. All right. This is the State Expedited Accusations calendar. I'm Judge Melanie Williams. Today is February 2nd of 2023, and this is the State Court of Fulton County, Georgia. This calendar is for those individuals who've been recently arrested, but the cases have already been formally accused by the Solicitor General's office. All defendants, you have an absolute right to remain silent. Anything you say regarding the facts of your case can and will be used against you as the state is listening and on the line. All participants, this particular proceeding is being recorded and broadcast over the internet. That means any member of the public can log on and watch. When I ask you if you understand your rights, I'm referring to what I have just explained. Are there any announcements from the PD's office or the solicitor's office? And has everyone had the opportunity to interview their client?
Good afternoon. Yes, Your Honor. I have interviewed all of my clients, and with regard to positions, number 3 and 11 are released.
Thank you. All right, who do we have first at the jail?
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon.
Courtroom 1, courtroom 2. And before you is position number 2, Mr. Kreshmer, and he has family members here in the gallery. Please
All right, thank you. Mr. Krishmer, your case is 23 CR 0000687H. In this case, you're charged with criminal trespass and battery with the offense date of August the 6th of 2022. Do you understand your rights today? He's muted. Can he just say yes? You can nod.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Mr. Howard, can I have that history, please?
Who is it? Who is it?
Position 2.
Oh, I don't have this issue.
All right, we'll defer to the state. Ms. Dillingham, please proceed.
Yes, Your Honor. For history, I do have 3 total arrest cycles, including this cycle. There's a 2006 possession of drugs conviction and a 2008 hit and run. That was not a conviction. And that is all that we have.
All right, please proceed with your argument regarding his bond.
Yes, Your Honor. This incident occurred August 6th of 2022, where officers responded to the victim, Alexis Allen's residence at 9110 Carroll Manor Drive in Sandy Springs. Miss Allen, the defendant, and a friend by the name of Daniel Hance were having drinks when the defendant began to get angry with Mr. Hance, causing a fight. This fight escalated into the defendant throwing Mr. Hance into Miss Allen's door and window, causing the door to come off of its hinges, causing a hole to the door and damage to her window blinds. As Miss Allen tried to de-escalate the situation, the defendant turned around and punched her in the face with a closed fist. When officers arrived, they observed severe swelling to Miss Allen's face, as well as a laceration across the bridge of her nose. And they also documented the property damage. Your Honor, for those reasons, the state does have concerns regarding Miss Allen's safety. And we are going to recommend a $4,000 surety bond, $3,000 on the battery, $1,000 for the criminal trespass, a stay away order from Miss Allen's address, 9110 Carroll Manor Drive, no further contact with Alexis Allen, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond.
All right, thank you. Ms. Gant. Oh, let me sound for Ms. Allen. I don't see her on the screen, but Ms. Allen, if you're present and wish to make a statement, this is your opportunity to do so.
Miss Allen, she's here in the gallery, Your Honor.
Okay, Ms. Allen, do you wish to make a statement?
Hold on, please.
Wait, is she saying yes or no to the statement? No to the statement?
Yes.
Okay, so she doesn't want to make a statement. We'll go to Ms. Gant.
Thank you, Your Honor. Andrew Christmer is 34 years old. He has been in the Atlanta, Georgia area his entire life. He does have family here, including his father and his current girlfriend, the complaining witness, Miss Alexis Allen. Mr. Christmer completed high school. He is currently a sales executive at Citywide. He has been in that position for about 2 months, Your Honor. He strongly denies the allegations. He is presumed innocent. I did have the chance to speak to Miss Allen. She informed me that she does want to have contact with Mr. Chrismer, as does my client. I will bring to the court's attention that this alleged incident occurred, is alleged to have occurred on August of 2022. They have never separated or never stopped seeing each other. So we're not, the defense isn't concerned about any concerns for a cooling off period. And of course, my client is presumed innocent. He does not have any convictions for violence, and the matters that we did hear about are quite remote, nonviolent offenses. I'm requesting a signature bond on Mr. Chrismer's behalf, and we are opposed to the stay away and the no contact orders based upon my conversations with Miss Alexis Allen. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. At this time, defendant's going to receive a $2,000 surety bond. That'll be $500 for the criminal trespass and $1,500 for the battery. He's to have no contact with Miss Allen and stay away from the address on Carroll Manor Drive. He can return one time with a member of law enforcement to get any items. And moreover, he's to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons as a condition. Is there
Your Honor.
anything further?
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Allen would like to make a statement. She did.
Okay.
Sorry, I decided yes, I don't think.
This is a very long calendar. When we, that slows us down. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear and affirm the testimony you give today will be the truth to the best of your knowledge and under the penalty of perjury?
Yes,
What would you like to tell the court? What I'm most interested in is whether you wish to have contact.
I do wish to have contact. He's never been violent towards me. I'm not afraid of him. Wasn't directed towards me. So I don't want to do the no contact.
All right, the bond will be modified as follows. It will be a $500 surety bond on count 1 and a $2,000 surety bond on count 2 for a total of a $2,500 surety bond. He's to have no further violent contact with the alleged victim and have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Is there anything further?
Good, thank you.
Nothing from the defense. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right.
Your
Best of luck to you. Yes.
The reset date for that SAP calendar is going to be February the 16th.
Thank you, Ms. Bridgewater.
You're welcome.
And Mr. Christmas case, because he's receiving a surety bond, will be reset to that calendar. All right. Is there, there's nothing further. Who do we have next?
Position number 4.
All right. Good afternoon. Are you Regina Curry?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Your case is 23 CR 000-692E. You're charged with 2 counts of criminal trespass with the offense date of February the 1st. Do you understand your rights?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Howard, can I have that history?
25 total. Last arrest was in December. Criminal attempt to commit a misdemeanor. That was on Marta. Before that was another December arrest for trespass, November trespass, October possession of drug-related objects, July trespass, June trespass.
Okay, that's sufficient. Thank you. All right, Ms. Dillingham.
Yes, Your Honor. This incident occurred yesterday, February 1st, 2023, where officers observed the defendant in the MARTA station at 30 Alabama Street Southwest. The defendant was previously issued a criminal trespass warning that was effective from January 6, 2023 to February 6, 2023, and the defendant intentionally violated that warning by being on the premises. As officers approached the defendant to advise her that she needed to leave the station, due to her active suspension, she refused to leave and was apprehended as a result. Your Honor, the state does have serious concerns for risk of reoffense due to the fact that out of the 25 cycles, 8 were arrests at MARTA locations, a 2021 public indecency at MARTA, 2021 terroristic threats at MARTA, 2021 criminal trespass at MARTA, and then 4 criminal trespass in 2022 at MARTA, and then even more recently, 2023 criminal trespass at MARTA, which was on the 2nd of January, and a stay away order was given from all MARTA locations. So for that reason, Your Honor, we are requesting a $2,000 surety bond, $1,000 on each count, and an emphasis on the stay away from all MARTA locations.
All right, thank you. Ms. Camp?
Yes, Your Honor. Miss Regina Curry is 32 years old. She has been in the Atlanta, Georgia area her entire life. She is the proud mother of 2 children, ages 13 and 10. She completed high school, and Your Honor, at this time, Miss Curry is unemployed. She worked at Subway prior to becoming unemployed. She strongly denies the allegation. She does not have the means to pay anything toward bond. Therefore, we are requesting a signature bond, Your Honor, and we are unopposed to the stay away. But we ask that that be restricted to the incident location.
She has an active suspension?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so she's gonna have to comply with the suspension and stay away from all MARTA as part of this. Defendant is gonna receive a $500 surety bond, $250 on each count for a total of that $500. And as I just emphasized, she must stay away from all MARTA consistent with that suspension. Is there anything further?
Nothing from the defense. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, best of luck to you, ma'am. Who do we have next?
Position 15, McCollum.
All right, good afternoon, Mr. McCullum. Your case is 23 CR 0000670J. You're charged with false report of a crime with the offense date of February the 1st. Do you understand your rights?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Howard. Oh, this is not first arrest. Mr. Howard, can you give me your history, please?
Last arrest was 2011. Simple battery DV. 2011 theft by receiving auto. We got first offender. 2010 disorderly conduct conviction.
Okay. Thank you. Ms. Falk, is this your
Yes,
case?
Yes, Your Honor, it is. I'm handling some of the cases today. Thank you.
Oh, all right, good to see you. Please proceed.
This occurred on February 1st at 9:45 a.m. Officers went out to 375 Highland Avenue. They spoke with the defendant, who stated he had been carjacked at 2:15 a.m. at the intersection of Boulevard Avenue and Freedom Parkway by 2 black males. If Your Honor will note, that was 7 hours before he reported this to the police. The defendant then stated he ran to the nearest relative at 375 Highland Avenue. Officers then located the vehicle at the intersection of Freedom Parkway and Boulevard, where the defendant had originally stated he'd been carjacked. The towing company indicated to the police officer that it was left at the scene of an accident where defendant was the at-fault driver. A witness to that car accident was able to identify the defendant as the driver who fled the scene after striking another vehicle when a photo was pulled after running the tag information of the car. After further questioning, the defendant then admitted he was not robbed or carjacked and was then placed under arrest. The defendant does have a little bit of a driving history. We were able to see some incidents in 2018, I believe, for failure to maintain lane. He also has a 2012 conviction. That conviction from disorderly conduct also involved driving offenses, where the defendant had rammed a vehicle with his car and then threw a brick through the car's window. The state's recommendation is a $1,500 surety bond, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons.
All right, thank you. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. McCollum is 33 years old. He was born and raised here in Georgia. And Your Honor, he has been working at U-Haul as a traffic control manager for the last 10 years. He successfully graduated from high school, and he has, other charges are kind of remote. We would like to request for signature on bond for this particular case. Thank you.
All right, defendant will receive $1,000 signature bond through pretrial services. He is to furthermore have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons as a condition. Is there anything further?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, best of luck to you, Mr. McCollum. Who we have next?
The state.
Position number 6.
All right, are you Kamaya Fredericks?
Yes.
All right, your case is 23 CR 0000694G. In this case, you're charged with criminal trespass and obstruction with the offense date of February the 1st. Do you understand your rights?
Yes.
All right, is this his first arrest? We'll go straight to you, Ms. Dillingham.
Yes, this is a first arrest, Your Honor. This incident occurred on Yesterday, February 1st, 2023, officers responded to Mira Midtown Apartments at 1301 Spring Street, which are units owned by Rebecca Aladini. Miss Aladini had informed officers that the defendant was there earlier and refused to leave one of the residents' units. While the officers were there, the defendant returned and stated that she had left an item in the unit. The officer went inside to look for this item, but did not find it as the defendant had alleged. Ms. Eludini stated that she wanted the defendant removed from the premises because she had asked the defendant multiple times to leave, but the defendant refused. As the officer attempted to detain the defendant was uncooperative and tried to get the officer to carry her out. And Your Honor, due to the fact that this is her first arrest, the state is recommending a $3,000 signature bond, $1,500 per count through pretrial services, a stay away order from that address, 1301 Spring Street, and a no further contact with Rebecca Aladini.
All right, thank you. Is Ms. Aladini on this Zoom conference and wishes to make a statement? All right, in light of the charges, I'm inclined to grant the state's recommendation. Ms. Gant, is there anything, do you have any objection to that, or is there anything further you'd like to add?
No, Your Honor, we are unopposed.
All right, at this time, defendant is going to receive a $3,000 signature bond, actually through the jail, $1,500 on each charge. She's to have no contact with Miss Rebecca Aladini and stay away from the location on Spring Street. Moreover, she's to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons as a condition. Is there anything further?
Nothing from the defense. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, best of luck to you, Ms. Frederick. Who do we have next?
Position 13, Mr. Maddox.
All right. All right, good afternoon, Mr. Maddox. Your case number is 23 CR 0000691C. You're charged with battery, family violence with the offense date of February the 1st. Do you understand your rights?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Howard, can I have Mr. Maddox history, please?
You got 11 total. Last arrest was 2017, suspended registration. 2017 misdemeanor possession of marijuana. 2016 FTA for trespass. 2014 probation violation, robbery by sudden snatch. You got first offender for that in 2012. That's it.
All right, thank you. Ms. Lewis?
Yes, Your Honor. This incident occurred yesterday at 2423 MLK Drive, Junior Southwest. Officers responded to a domestic dispute call and upon arrival met with Jasmine Allen. Allen stated that she and her boyfriend got into an argument that turned physical. Allen stated that Maddox began to beat her because she was suspecting him of cheating and she was throwing his stuff on the balcony. We were able to speak with Ms. Allen this morning, and she stated that the defendant came home drunk, and after she questioned him, an argument ensued. The defendant attacked her and began punching her over and over again in the head and swung her around the house. The officers did observe a cut on her nose and a large knot on the top of her head. Your Honor, the victim also stated that the defendant stole her car keys, so she wouldn't be able to leave, and since then she has not received those keys back. She also states that she is extremely afraid of him and will be filing a TPO and wants nothing further to do with him. For these reasons, Your Honor, the state is recommending a $5,000 surety bond, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, to stay away from that location, no further contact, and 1 day of anger awareness. And I'm not sure if Ms. Allen is on the line, but if so, we'd like to sound for her at the appropriate time. Nothing further.
All right, if Ms. Allen, you're present on the Zoom conference and wish to make a statement, this is your opportunity to do so. However, you are not required to. Is Ms. Allen present on the Zoom conference? All right, hearing none, Ms. Gant, please proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Darius Maddox is 30 years old. He has been in the Atlanta, Georgia area his entire life. He is the proud father of a 6-year-old child. He does not share that child with Ms. Allen. Mr. Maddox completed 12th grade. He also has some college. He studied business management. He is gainfully employed. In fact, Your Honor, he's working 2 jobs. He is employed at Mary Mac Tea Room. He is a line cook. He's been there for 5 years. He also is an unarmed security guard, Allied Security, has been working there for 5 years. He strongly denies the allegations. He states that on the day in question, he arrived home. Miss Allen was upset with him. They were arguing before he got there. He states he denies making any physical contact with her. He states that she poured hot water on him. She burned his shoes. She lied to the police about what he did to her. And he states that he has scratches on his shoulders. So we certainly have a competing version here, Your Honor. I do acknowledge my client's history. However, he received first offender back in 2012. And since then, we have basically remote issues, driving offenses, nothing related to violence. Therefore, I'm requesting a signature bond on Mr. Maddox's behalf. He does want contact with Miss Allen. However, I did reach out to her and she confirmed that she does not. So we will defer to the court's ruling regarding contact. And we are, if Your Honor orders a stay away and no contact, that my client be granted a one-time law enforcement escort so that he can retrieve his belongings from the residence. Thank you, Your Honor.
Your Honor, the victim stated that the defendant's friend and father has already picked up his belongings and she's changed the lock. So I'm not sure if he really needs to go back to that location.
All right. At this time, defendant's going to receive a $4,000 surety bond. He's to have no contact with Ms. Allen. However, I will permit him to return one time with law enforcement to get any items that might still be there. Moreover, he's to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons as a condition, and he must stay away from that address. Is there anything further?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Nor from the defense. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Best of luck to you, Mr. Maddox. Who do we have next?
Position number 7.
All right. Good afternoon. Are you Terry Gaddis?
Yes, ma'am. Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Gaddis, your case is 23 CR 000-681G. You're charged with terroristic threats and acts and simple assault with the offense date of February 1st. You understand your rights?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Mr. Howard.
The third arrest. Last arrest was 2016, simple battery DV, dismissed. And 2014, trespass, cruelty in the third, aggravated assault, those were dismissed.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Lewis?
Yes, Your Honor. This incident occurred on February 1st at 2711 Hemingway Lane. Officers responded to this location and met with Rhonda Thompson. Thompson stated that Gaddis yelled fighting words and racial slurs at her and threatened violence toward her. Gaddis called Thompson out of her name several times and stated that she would bash her head down. For respect of the court, I won't repeat the explicit that she mentioned, but they were racial in nature. Gaddis also displayed a fighting stance by having a closed fist and made a beeline towards Thompson in an aggressive manner as if to fight Thompson. There are several witnesses present at the incident, including David Prborski. His last name is spelled Przzyborski, who stated that he was speaking with Ms. Thompson while Gaddis was walking her dog when Gaddis thought Thompson called her a loser. It was at this point that she became irate and started yelling obscenities and terroristic threats. The witness attempted to interfere, but Gaddis wouldn't stop. And he stated that there's a history of police responding to the defendant's residence due to drug overdoses and domestic related incidences. The officers were also able to view this incident on a ring camera from another witness. So there's plenty that corroborates this story. Your Honor, for this reason, the state is recommending a $3,000 surety bond. That's $1,500 on each count. No further contact with Ms. Thompson, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and 1 day of anger awareness. Nothing further.
I'm going to sound for Ms. Thompson at this time. Ms. Thompson, if you're present on this conference and wish to make a statement, this is your opportunity to do so. All right, hearing none, Ms. Kent.
Thank you, Your Honor. Terry Gaddis is 55 years old. She is a resident of Brunswick, Georgia. She informed me that she was here visiting her children at the incident location. Her children are ages 24 and 26. Ms. Gaddis has a bachelor's degree in early childhood education. However, Your Honor, she is not working nor has she worked in 9 months. She strongly denies the allegations. We did not hear about any convictions for violence. Therefore, I'm requesting a signature bond on Ms. Gaddis's behalf, and we are unopposed to the other conditions, the no drugs, alcohol, weapons, and no contact with the complaining witness, Ms. Thompson. Thank you.
All right, at this time, defendant will receive a $2,000 surety bond. It will be $500 for the terroristic threats and $1,500 for the simple assault. She's to have no contact with Ms. Thompson and stay away from the incident location. Moreover, she's to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Is there anything further?
Yes, Your Honor, may you add a one-time law enforcement escort so that she can retrieve her belongings from there?
Yes, she can return one time with a member of law enforcement to get any items that might still be at that location.
Thank you.
All right, best of luck to you, Ms. Gaddis. Who do we have next?
Position 16, Parks.
Sandra.
All right. Good afternoon. Your case is 23 CR 0000673C. In this case, Mr. Parks, you're charged with 1 count of fare evasion, willful obstruction, and criminal trespass with the offense date of February the 1st. Do you understand your rights?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. As this is first arrest, we'll go to you, Ms. Falk.
Yes, Your Honor. This happened on February 1st, 2023, the Peachtree Center MARTA station at 216 Peachtree Street. Defendant walked through the fare gate without paying. The officer ordered him to leave. He refused. He was arrested and snatched away to avoid being handcuffed. We're asking for a $1,500 signature bond, $500 per count. Stay away from Peachtree MARTA station. No alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Falk. Ms. Kim, any objection to that signature
No
bond?
objection, Your Honor.
All right, at this time, defendant will receive a $1,500 signature bond through the jail. He's to there's no active MARTA suspensions, I'm assuming. So
None that I'm aware of, Your Honor.
None that you're aware of. Was the state requesting a stay away from that MARTA location?
We are requesting a stay away from the Peachtree Center MARTA station.
All right, I will not preclude him from all of MARTA, but he must stay away from that station, in particular at 216 Peachtree Street, and have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Is there anything further?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right.
Is that 500 on each charge?
Yes.
Thank you.
Best of luck to you, Mr. Parks. That concludes your case. Who do we have next?
Position number 8.
Okay, bear with me. My calendar is it's not in order today. All right, are you Janika Glass Price?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, your case is 23 CR 0000682E. You're charged with battery family violence with the offense date of February 1st. You understand your rights?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, this is first arrest, so we'll go to Ms. Lewis.
Sorry. Yes, Your Honor. This incident occurred on January 1st, 2023 at 4375 Cascade Road, apartment E48. Officers responded to a dispute call at this location and met with Brandon Price. Price stated that he and his wife had been arguing all day. He also stated that prior to the officer's arrival, a different officer arrived and told them that they should separate for the day, and both agreed. Price stated that before they could separate, their argument turned physical. Price stated that he locked the door to their bedroom, but the defendant made it inside and punched him 2 times to the left side of his face. We were able to speak with the victim this morning. He states he's not in fear of her, but does not want to contact her anymore. He states that he won't be returning back to the residence. Your Honor, for this reason, the state is recommending a $2,000 surety bond, no further contact, 1 day anger awareness, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Nothing further.
All right, thank you. Ms. McLeod?
Good afternoon, Your Honor. My client is 26 years old. She is gainfully employed as a driver and has been driving for some time. She is the mother of 3 minor children for whom she's a primary caregiver, and she does share 2 of these minor children with the alleged victim. Your Honor, she denies that she struck the victim at all, that she even placed her hand on him. And the court would probably note that the warrant itself says that they saw no signs of injury on him and that he actually tried to recant his allegations that he made against my client, of course, because they were false. I would ask the court to give my client a signature bond so she can get out of jail, get back home to take care of her two young children, Your Honor. Nothing further.
I'm going to sound for Mr. Price. I did not do so. Mr. Price, if you're present on this Zoom conference and wish to be heard, this is your opportunity to speak. All right, hearing none, defendant will receive a $2,500 signature bond through pretrial services. She's to take the one-day anger awareness course, and she's to have no further contact with Mr. Brandon Price. Moreover, she's to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons as a condition. Is there anything further?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, best of luck to you, Ms. Glass Price. Who do we have next?
Position 17, Penalosa.
Okay, Mr. Penalosa, your case is 23 CR 000-671Y. You're charged with 2 counts of battery family violence with the offense date of February the 1st. Do you understand your rights?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, first arrest, so we will go to Ms. Falk.
Yes, Your Honor. This incident happened February 1st, 2023 at 8:54 p.m. at 5215 Green Oak Court in Sandy Springs. Diana Alvarado, who is the victim in this case, and the mother of the defendant's child, she has also lived with him for the last year and a half, stated that the defendant came at her from behind and grabbed both of her arms. Ms. Alvarado then stated the defendant threw her to the ground and struck her multiple times. The defendant did admit to grabbing her from behind. We did attempt to make contact with Ms. Diana Alvarado, but we were unable to locate a good number for her. Although this is his first offense, the state is requesting a $3,000 surety bond that is going to be $1,500 on each of the counts. We are requesting a stay away from 5215 Green Oak Court, Sandy Springs, and no further contact with Diana, common spelling Alvarado, Alvarado. We're further asking for no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. And we would like to sound for Ms. Alvarado. Thank you.
All right, at this time, I'm sounding for Ms. Alvarado. If you're present on this Zoom conference and wish to make a statement, this is your opportunity to be heard. All right, hearing none, we'll go to you, Ms. Kim.
Yes, Mr. Penalosa is 20 years old, Your Honor. He was born and raised here in Georgia, and he successfully graduated from high school, and he's been working at Malone Cabinet for last 4 years as a line cook. He's been diligent to provide financial resources to their child. They have a 2-year-old child, and Your Honor, my client is willing to stay away from their location until she moves out, and also continuously have a relationship with his child. Your Honor, they have lived together, and yet that house is my client's brother's house. So I think my client is supposed to have that location, and Diana Alvarado is willing to move out since their relationship has been broken off. So they were anyway in the middle of moving out. So she was going to move out anyway. So we would like to have a one-time law enforcement officer escort visit to make sure that she does not reside there, and then hopefully my client can return by that time. And no further contact with my with a complaining witness. My client has no objection, Your Honor. Thanks.
All right. At this time, defendant will receive a $5,000 signature bond through pretrial services per judge, $2,500 on each count. He's to take the one-day anger awareness course and have no contact with Ms. Alvarado. He can return one time to the address on Green Oak Court with a member of law enforcement to ascertain whether or not the victim still resides there. If she's no longer there, he can return to that location. Additionally, he's to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Is there anything further?
Third-party child transfer, please, Your Honor.
He can arrange to see his children by coordinating those efforts with a third party.
Thank you.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, best of luck to you, sir. Who do we have next?
Position number 9.
All right. Why am I not being able to? One moment. Thank everyone for their patience. Are you Mr. Hamilton?
Yes,
Okay. I'm sorry, Ms. Hamilton. Your case is 23 CR 0000683J. You're charged with 2 counts of criminal trespass with the offense date of February the 1st. Do you understand your rights?
yes.
All right, thank you. Mr. Howard?
Second adult arrest, 2019 shoplift.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Lewis?
Yes, Your Honor. Before I proceed, we have a co-defendant in this case at position 19, and I asked to hear them immediately after this one.
Okay.
So this incident occurred on February 1st at 55 Maple Street. Officers responded to a dispute call at this location and spoke with Dominic Shurton. His name is Dominick. Shurton stated that he and his girlfriend, Ms. Hamilton, were in an argument which turned physical. Shurton stated that Ms. Hamilton poured a bottle of water on him, so he struck her in the face. Officers observed swelling to Ms. Hamilton's face. In response, Ms. Hamilton poured bleach on Shurton's clothing and also broke his phone. For this reason, Your Honor, the state is recommending a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial services. That's $1,500 on each count. No further contact and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Nothing further.
All right. All right, Ms. Gant?
Yes, Your Honor. 10 Quinique Hamilton is 22 years old. She has been in the Atlanta, Georgia area for 1 year. She has her mother here. She informs me that her mother is a quadriplegic and that she is the primary caregiver for her mother. Ms. Hamilton completed 12th grade. She is not working other beyond being a caregiver for her mother, Yana. She denies the allegations. She's presumed innocent, and we are unopposed to the signature bond as proposed by the state. Now, my client does wish to have contact with Mr. Shurton, so we are asking for a no violent contact order. And regarding the residence, Your Honor, that is my client's mother's residence, and her mother's name is Cynthia Probst.
All right. At this time, defendant will receive a $3,000 signature bond through the jail. She's to have no further contact with Mr. Dominic Shurton, and she is to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons as a condition. Is there anything further?
Nothing further.
Thank you.
All right, best of luck to you.
What
Ms.
was that contact, Judge?
No further contact.
Thank you. I assume that's $1,500 on each charge?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bridgewater.
You're welcome.
All right, is it possible for us to do position 19?
It's in front of you, Your Honor.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Shurton, your case is 23 CR 0000684J. You're charged with 1 count of battery family violence with the offense date of February the 1st. Do you understand your rights?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Howard, can I have his history, please?
Second arrest, 2021 simple battery. Dismissed.
All right, thank you. Ms. Lewis?
Yes, Your Honor. So the facts of this case, of course, are the same. I did want to note, though, that officers did observe swelling to Hamilton's face as a result of the fight that her and Mr. Shurton were in. To reiterate, Ms. Hamilton poured a bottle of water on Mr. Shurton, and Shurton struck her in the face a few times. For this reason, the state is recommending a $3,000 surety bond, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, no further contact, stay away, and 1 day of anger awareness. Nothing further.
All right, Ms. McCall?
Yes, Your Honor, my client is 19 years old. He is gainfully employed. He does have his high school diploma as well. And he tells me that he works in an Amazon warehouse. He also tells me that he did not strike the complaining witness at all. In fact, she was the one who attacked him. So she walked on him and, he was just trying to get away from her. And she also cut him with a knife. He tells me that he does not wish to have any further contact with the complaining witness. He does have somewhere else that he can go to live, Your Honor. He does need a one-time law enforcement escort to go back there because he does have some clothing and some other belongings at this location. But he's quite happy with a no further contact with the victim, Your Honor. I would ask the court to give my client a signature bond so he can get out of jail, get back to his job, and get on with his life. Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. At this time, defendant will receive a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial services per judge. He is to take the one-day anger awareness course and have no contact with the cross defendant in this case. He's further to stay away from the address on Maple Street. He can return one time with law enforcement to get any items he might have there. And additionally, he's to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Is there anything further?
Nothing further,
Your Honor.
All right, best of luck to you, Mr. Shurton. Who do we have next?
Position 14.
All right. All right, good afternoon. Are you Aubrey Mathis?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, your case is 23 CR 000-690B. You're charged with false report of a crime with the offense date of September the 13th of 2022. Do you understand your rights?
Yes.
All right. First arrest, so we'll go to Ms. Lewis.
Yes, Your Honor. This incident occurred on September 13th, 2022 at 565 Greens Ferry Avenue. Officers responded to a car theft at this location and met with Aubrey Mathis and Willis Mathis, who is her father. Ms. Mathis stated that she got off work and went inside her apartment and left the keys to her father's car inside. Later that day, officers responded to the same auto theft call and spoke with Mathis once again to get more information on the case. Officers then ran the vehicle information and discovered that the vehicle was towed earlier in the day due to the vehicle being involved in a police pursuit with Georgia State Patrol. It was later discovered that Georgia State Patrol attempted to stop that vehicle and the person inside the vehicle, who was a male, jumped out the vehicle and ran from the location. The following day, the officers called Ms. Mathis back and she finally told them the truth and stated that she let her friend drive the vehicle and that her friend abandoned the vehicle due to that pursuit. Your Honor, because this is her first arrest, we see she has a $5,000 surety bond, but the state is actually recommending a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial services and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Nothing further at this time.
All right, Ms. Kim, I'm inclined to grant that signature bond through pretrial. Do you have any objection?
I was wondering if it could be done by jail.
That's your only objection, Ms. Kim?
Yep. Yes, Your Honor.
Hold on one second. Let me check one thing. I'm going to stick with my original inclination. I'm going to send it through pretrial services, and she's to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. All right.
Will you repeat that bond, Your Honor?
It's a $2,000 SLB through pretrial, and
Thank
she's to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank
All
you.
right. All right. Best of luck to you, Ms. Mathis. Who do
Your
we have
Honor.
next? Yes.
I do apologize for interrupting. May I request that the ASG who handled Regina Curry's case check the chat? I believe it's ASG Dillingham.
Okay. All right. Ms. Dillingham, if you check that chat. Thank you. All right. Who do we have next?
Position 18, Mr. Rage.
All right, Mr. Rage, your case number is 23 CR 000-672A. You're charged with discharge of a firearm on a public highway or street with the offense date of January the 14th. Do you understand your rights?
Yes, ma'am.
And Your Honor,
Yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt. He was also charged with 2 counts of reckless conduct. We had accused the case. It didn't go down properly, but it is in the system properly now.
All right. So you have, as well as the state has just informed me, 2 counts of reckless conduct. All right. All right. I believe this is first arrest. So Ms. Falk, if you'd proceed.
Yes, Your Honor. This incident happened back on January 14th at 2035 Wilshire Glen in Alpharetta, Georgia. There was a scuffle between Terrence Mubaya, that is Mubaiwa, and the defendant in the defendant's driveway. Issa Thomas, that is ESSA, common spelling of his last name, and then Okrie Jordan, OAKRIE, common last name spelling, were able to break up the fight between Mubaya and the defendant, who then began yelling at each other from different parts, one from the driveway and one from near his home. While this was happening, the defendant then grabbed a gun and fired around in his driveway where everyone was located. The defendant claimed he did so because he told the defendant to leave his property and was threatened, but when the officers asked what the nature of the threat was, he was unable to articulate the nature of the threat. Issa Thomas and Okrie Jordan, who were also witnesses, were questioned by the officers, and they told the officers that the defendant and Mubaya were no longer standing near each other or fighting when the defendant brought out a handgun and fired it. This happened in a residential neighborhood in Alpharetta and was about 50 yards from a street, which is why the defendant was—
Unknown caller.
Oh,
I
sorry, there
apologize.
was some kind of feedback. I
apologize.
So it was a 2003 disorderly conduct case out of Minnesota that the defendant has. This is his second arrest. It's his first arrest in Georgia. We were not able to locate any of the witnesses at the time. We did try to do searches for their numbers, but we're unable to reach them. However, the state does have some serious concerns here. You've got a defendant firing a handgun. His own home was occupied at the time. You have people out in the street that he could have struck, and for seemingly no reason. Although there was a fight, the fight was discontinued. Everybody had taken their separate places, and then the defendant saw fit to bring out a handgun and start firing in the direction or in the general vicinity of three individuals standing outside, two of whom were not involved in the fight. So the state's recommendation on this case is a $20,000 surety bond. We're asking for $5,000 on the discharging of weapon and $7,500 on each of the reckless conduct charges. We're also asking for no further contact with Mr. Mubaya, Mr. Thomas, or Mr. Jordan, that the defendant have absolutely no firearms and surrender any firearms that he does have to Fulton County, and we're asking for no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. The state would like to sound for Mr. Mubaya, Thomas, and Jordan and see if they are present here on the Zoom. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Falk. I am sounding at this time for Mr. Thomas, Mr. Mubaya, or Mr. Jordan. Are either of these parties or any of these parties present on the Zoom conference? All right, hearing none, Ms. Kim.
Your Honor, Mr. Rage, a head of the household, has every right to protect his house, his family members, wife, and 2 boys, and 4-month baby, 7 and 6 years old, Your Honor. It was his place. Defendant was in his driveway. He was protecting him and his family members. He was attacked by Mr. Terrence. Just because he was in a shock, he could not articulate the reason how and why he felt threatened to be killed with words. That does not mean he was not threatened. His argument for self-defense is it can be easily proven by the scar that he has, and also he also had blood all over him because of Mr. Terrence Mubaiwa, who was attacking him and threatened to kill his family members. Your Honor, I don't think $20,000 surety bond is reasonable for this case. He should get signature on bond. This is the first time ever things like this happened. If it has to be a surety bond because of 2003, like 20 years ago, something happened because of the past history. If he has to get some kind of good bond, it cannot be more than $1,000 good bond, Your Honor. He has every right to protect his family. He has a bachelor's degree from Mercer University for business administration. He's been here in Georgia for the last 13 years. He's successfully employed as a self-owner of the business. And Your Honor, it is our right, constitutional right, to own the gun, here in USA as a citizen, and also we can protect attacker or anybody who invades our home. Thank you.
All right, defendant will receive a $7,000 surety bond. It'll be $5,000 on the discharge of the firearm and $1,000 in each of the reckless charges. He is to have no contact with alleged victims / witnesses, Mumbai, Thomas, or Jordan. He is to have absolutely no firearms. He must surrender any that he has to Fulton County. And additionally, he's to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, including the subject weapon. Is there anything further?
Nothing,
Yeah.
Your Honor.
All right, best of luck to you, Mr. Rage. Who do we have next?
Position number 12.
All right, are you Marvelina Mack?
Yes, Marvina Mack.
Oh, Marvina Mack. All right, Marvina, Miss Mack, your case is 23 CR 0000688Y. You're charged with theft by taking with the offense date of August the 13th. Do you understand your rights?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Howard, can I have the history, please?
You got 13 total. Last arrest was back in May for ag assault, simple battery. That's open. She got to open theft by taking 20 MAGC 01980. See a 2020 ag assault, criminal damage to property, 20 CP 191748. The ag assault and battery, the ag assault is 22 CP 208752. 2021 disorderly conduct, NOLO. 2020 theft by taking, I don't have a that's the open one, I'm sorry. 2017 battery DV, trespass and obstruction. It just says bind over. And she got failure to appear as well.
Okay.
2017.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Lewis?
Yes, Your Honor. This incident occurred on August 13, 2022. The victim in this case is Nathaniel Lowe. He arrived at the Zone 3 Police Department, which is located at 2353 Metropolitan, to report that his iPhone 11 had been stolen. Lowe stated that his phone has been taken from his house, which is located at 947 Hank Aaron Drive, and he stated that he does know Miss Mack. Lowe stated that he's known Mack for about 5 to 6 years, and she asked to use a cell phone, which he consented to. But after using the phone, Mack refused to give the phone back and then fled with the phone. Subsequently, a warrant was issued for Mack's arrest. Your Honor, this defendant currently is violating her bond conditions in case 20 CP 191748, which states that she's to have no further contact and to stay away from Mr. Lowe. And she currently has a $3,500 bond. And because she's violating the bond, the state is recommending to keep the surety bond as is at $3,500, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, to stay away, and no further contact with Mr. Lowe. Nothing further.
All right, thank you. Ms. McLeod?
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 28 years old. She denies the allegations that she stole anything from the gentleman in question, Your Honor. What she tells me is that she's known him for a while. He agreed to help her out with a phone. And after she refused to have sexual intercourse with him, he decided that he was going to say that the phone was stolen. And this was some time ago, Your Honor. It's not that she's had any recent contact with him. I think this is the second time he's made these kinds of allegations against him, Your Honor. She has no contact with him. According to the warrant, there was a case before, and the warrant does mention that. And when they went there, that she had closed at his house when he was trying to pretend that she was an actual stranger and that she had stolen something from him, Your Honor. This is just a situation where an older man is trying to take advantage of a woman who's, in financial straits and expects her to give him sexual favors in order for him to help her. And when she doesn't give him the sexual favors, then he acts like she has committed some kind of crime. I would ask the court to give my client a signature bond, Your Honor, primarily because this allegation, according to the warrant, happened sometime in August. They're not having any contact. Moreover, my client is currently unemployed. She tells me, she's trying to get a job, trying to get her own place because she's been living with her mother. She's not in a position to post bond, Your Honor. And I will ask the court to take that into consideration. Nothing further.
All right, defendant will receive a $1,500 surety bond. She's to have no contact with Mr. Lowe and stay away from the incident location. She's additionally to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons as a condition. Is there anything further?
What's the bond amount again, please?
1,500 surety.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ronna.
All right, best of luck to you, Ms. Mack. Who do we have next?
Position 21, Strozier.
I'm sorry, one moment, please. I have position number 1 in courtroom number 3, but I think that needs a breakout session, so we can do that position last. I'll just log off.
All right, we're gonna do that one last. All right. We're gonna go to position 21, Mr. Strozier, 23 CR 000-676H, in which defendant is charged with battery family violence with the offense date of September the 18th of 2022. You understand your rights?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Howard.
This is fourth arrest. Last was back in June, failed to appear for simple battery DV. January, he was arrested for the initial simple battery DV. It was later dismissed. And he got 2019 simple battery DV. Tuesday in the 3rd, he got PTI, and it was dismissed.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Falk?
Yes, Your Honor. This incident happened on September 18th, 2022, and that is going to become relevant in just a bit. Officers spoke with Patrick Strozier, that is Patric, I may be Patrice, excuse me, Strozier, at 72 Milton Avenue, number 6205 in Atlanta. Ms. Strozier stated that she and her husband, the defendant, had been arguing. The defendant thought she was going to lock him out of the house and then threw an object at her, which caused a laceration to her foot. We did speak to Ms. Strozier. She stated that they have been together for 10 years, married for 3, and they do share 1 child and live together. She also stated and did acknowledge that they do have a domestic violence history. She stated that she is not afraid of the defendant. However, the state does have some objections to this, in particular that 22 CR 000-326H case that was dismissed after the defendant completed pretrial intervention. That involved a incident with Miss Patrice Strozier as well. In that case, he struck and shoved her and was charged with simple battery and then completed the pretrial intervention program. So he completed that, and the case was dismissed on October 3rd of 2022, which, as I've stated, and bring it back to the September 18th incident, was only 2 weeks after that September 18th incident. So he actually committed another offense while he was on pretrial diversion for his first offense against Ms. Strozier. So for those reasons, we are very concerned about the risk of reoffense here. We are requesting a $4,000 surety bond. We are requesting no further contact with Patrice Strozier. Stay away from 72 Milton Avenue, number 6205 in Atlanta. No alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Thank you.
All right, at this time, I'm going to sound for Ms. Strozier. If you would like to make a statement, this is your opportunity to do so. However, you are not required to make a statement. Would you like to make a statement at this time? All right, Ms. Kim, we'll go to you.
Yes, because I spoke with Miss Strozier. She's not afraid of her husband. She wants him to come back home. And this happened about.
I want to make a statement. I'm sorry. I was trying to unlock my mute.
Okay, work on that. We'll work on that. We'll come back to you. Ms. Kim, please continue.
Sure. Your Honor, Mr. Strozier is 36 years old, and he has 1 child who is 4 years old with Miss Patrick, and they have been married about 3 or 4 years. And they have been living together quite a bit. Your Honor, Mr. Strozier is gainfully employed as a traveling lab technician for the last 2 years. His employment has been stable. He has an associate degree. He also served in the Navy from 2016 to 2020. He was discharged honorably. Your Honor, we would like to request for a signature on bond, and yet, if Your Honor is not inclined to give him a signature on bond because of the case that Mrs. Deputy Falk was mentioning about, we would like to definitely ask for maximum $1,000 good bond for this case and no further violent contact. Thank you.
All right, Ms. Strozier, if you'd like to make a statement, please hurry and turn your camera on so that I can place you under oath. All right, you need to unmute as well. Do you swear and affirm the testimony you give today will be the truth to the best of your knowledge and under the penalty of perjury?
Yes.
All right, what would you like to tell the court at this time?
I just wanted to request a no violent contact order. I couldn't really hear if y'all had already said that or not, but that's what I wanted to add.
All right, thank
And
you.
Your Honor, if I may just ask one question very briefly.
Very briefly, Ms. Falk.
Ms. Strozier, I'm sorry, you just turned your video
Oh,
off.
yes, ma'am.
If I can ask, I know that you were the victim in the 2022 case that was dismissed. Were you also the victim in the 2019 case?
Yes.
And that case was also dismissed by pretrial diversion, is that correct?
I'm not sure, ma'am. I don't remember.
And Your Honor, just state for the record that we did go over the GCIC. That case was also dismissed by pretrial diversion. So this is now his third case against the same victim.
All right, we will accept the state's recommendation. It'll be a $4,000 surety bond. He's to have no contact with Ms. Strozier and stay away from the location on Milton Avenue. He can return one time with a member of law enforcement to get any items that might be there. Additionally, he's to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons as a condition. Is there anything further?
Can he have a third party transfer for his child visitation?
How old is the child?
4 years old, Your Honor.
Okay, he can arrange to see his child by coordinating with a third party. Is there anything else?
Nothing from the state.
All right, best of luck to you, Mr. Strozier. Who do we have next?
Position 23, Mr. White.
All right, Mr. White, your case is 23 CR 000-678E. You're charged with criminal trespass and two counts of giving false information with the offense date of February 1st. You understand your rights?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Howard, can I please have his history?
25 total. Last arrest was 2020. Probation, possession of cocaine. 2020, possession of cocaine, that was the arrest. 2016, possession of drug-related objects. 06, theft of lost, mislaid property. He also has history out of Oklahoma. Last arrest, that was in the 90s, though.
Okay, that's sufficient. Thank you. Ms. Falk?
Yes, Your Honor. On February 1st at 6:30 a.m., officers were dispatched to 84 12th Street Northeast. That's Atlas Demolitions construction site. They were dispatched there for a loitering and prowling call. The defendant was observed leaving the area, and when the officers asked him for his ID, he stated he didn't have it and gave the name Travis Patterson and the date of birth of October 17th, 1970. The defendant's real date of birth is October 19th, 1965. The defendant was identified by a rapid mobile fingerprint scanner, and the officer spoke to Matthew McLemore, who was a witness who stated that the defendant was given a warning to stay away from that location the day before. And on today's date, the defendant was observed pulling wires and moving items to a different location within the construction site. As the pretrial has already stated, he has 23 cycles, but the most recent one is that 2020 probation violation, and that was from a 2005 drug case. He does have a handful of theft convictions, but they are in the 2000s. For that reason only, because of the amount of time and the charges we're dealing with, the state is agreeing to a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial, $1,000 per count. We are asking for a stay away from 84 12th Street Northeast in Atlanta, Georgia, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons.
All right, thank you, Ms. Falk.
Your Honor, we have no objection, except we would like to clarify that we thought he only had 2 charges. Is it 3 charges?
Yes, it's giving false information, one for the false name, the second for the date of birth, so they are charged in the alternative.
Okay. No objection, Your Honor.
All right, at this time, defendant will receive a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial per judge. I'm gonna send it to the jail. A $3,000 signature bond through the jail. At this time, he's to stay away from the incident location on 12th Street, and he's to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons as a condition. Is there anything further?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor. I do just want to put on the record that is Atlas Demolition, I believe is the name of the company. Atlas Demolition is the name of the company that runs that site.
Do not go back there, Mr. White. Don't go back to Atlas Demolition. All right, who do we have next?
Position number 5, Mr. Irvin.
All right, Mr. Irving, your case number is 21 CR 0006963D. You're charged with criminal trespass and obtaining an unlawful entry into a MARTA station with the offense date of February the 1st. Do you understand you're right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Howard, can I have his history?
30 total.
Okay,
Last
that's
arrest?
5 years. Yeah.
Huh?
Go ahead, proceed, Mr. Howard.
His last arrest was in 2009, probation.
Okay. Thank you. Ms. Dillingham?
Yes, Your Honor. This incident occurred yesterday, February 1st of 2023, while patrolling the MARTA 5-Point station located at 2020 Lee Street Southwest. Officers observed the defendant enter the MARTA station without paying the required fare. The defendant did have an active suspension from MARTA property that was effective January 22nd, 2023 to February 5th, 2023, and he entered the property in violation of that notice. Due to the defendant not having a history since 2009, Your Honor, the state is going to recommend a $2,000 signature bond, $1,000 for each count through pretrial services, and a stay away order from all MARTA due to the active suspension.
All right, Ms. Gant, any objection to the signature bond, which I'm inclined to grant?
No objections, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, defendant will receive a $2,000 signature bond through the jail, $1,000 on each count. He is to stay away from all MARTA locations consistent with his suspension and have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Is there anything further?
Nothing from the defense. Thank you, Your Honor.
Nothing.
All right, best of luck to you, sir. Who do we have next?
Next, we have position number 10, Mr. Jackson.
All right, are you Samuel Jackson?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Jackson, your case is 23 CR 0000686Y. You're charged with simple battery with the offense date of February the 1st. You understand your rights?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Lewis, please proceed.
Yes, Your Honor. This incident occurred on January 21st at the intersections of Martin Luther King Jr. Drive and Central Avenue. Officers responded to a dispute call at this location and spoke with Tina Preston. Preston stated that Jackson picked her up and slammed her to the ground. At this time, we don't have information on the relationship between the two. Because of the nature of this, the state is recommending a $2,000 surety bond, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, no further contact, and 1 day of anger awareness. Nothing further.
I'm sounding for Ms. Preston at this time. If Ms. Preston is available and on the Zoom conference and wishes to make a statement, this is your opportunity to do so. All right, hearing none, Ms. McLeod.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Jackson is 31 years old. He has been living in Atlanta for some time, he tells me, all his life. He denies knowing either of these two individuals. What he told me is that he was approached by the complaining witness and her boyfriend. The boyfriend pulled a knife on him, and he was defending himself, and he thought the whole thing after the boyfriend attacked him and they backed off. Then the complaining witness came back and tried to attack him, and he was simply trying to defend himself against these people. He doesn't know either of them, Your Honor, and this happened close to where he lives, he tells me. My client, although he does work, is currently unemployed. He said he has not been working for the past several weeks, so he's not in a position to pay a bond, Your Honor. I would ask the court to consider giving him a signature bond, or at least a very low bond, given the fact that he's unemployed and not in a position to pay bond, and that he has no relationship with these people. What he alleges seems to make sense, Your Honor, that this was a random attack. These are not people he knows or people that he lives with. So the likelihood of him having to interact with them again is quite small. Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Jackson will receive a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial services. He is to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and no contact with any of the alleged victims in this case. Is there anything further?
Nothing further.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, best of luck to you, Mr. Jackson. That concludes your bond hearing. Who do we have next?
Your Honor, that concludes my business before the court. May I be excused?
Take care. Have a great evening, Ms. McLeod.
Thank you. You too, Your Honor.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, I didn't get the name of this defendant.
I didn't either. I don't think we got it at all. Who's before me today?
I was waiting until the three others left out the room. Before you,
Okay.
position 20, Stevens,
Stevens.
yeah.
All right. All right, Mrs. Stevens, your case is 23 CR 0000674C. I will not personally sound this charge, however, the state may do so. Even though I wish that the state would not. With the offense date of February the 1st of 2023. Do you understand your rights?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Howard, can I please have the history?
Second arrest. Last arrest was in November for shoplifting. That appears to be open.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Falk, please proceed.
Yes, Your Honor. On February 1st, 2023, police were dispatched to 7490 Old National Highway, Suite 600, which is the Young Leaders Academy daycare. They spoke with Miss Ebony Wilkes, who stated the defendant took off his clothing and exposed himself in front of the daycare center, which was witnessed by multiple children and employees of the Young Leaders Academy daycare. When she questioned the defendant about why he did this, he told Miss Wilkes that he was naked due to him having an itch. They spoke with Miss Megan Bryant, who is an employee at the daycare center. She stated the defendant had walked by fully clothed, and then when she looked up next, he was fully nude. The children began screaming. Miss Bryant shouted for help, and at that point, the defendant was scared away by other employees. Miss Wofford, who was
Please
also
be quiet, Mr. Stevens. Please be quiet. Let Ms. Falk continue. Go ahead, Ms. Falk.
Miss Wofford, who's also an employee, stated she heard screaming and looked outside and also saw the defendant. The defendant was then located in a nearby barbershop and detained. We have had victim contact with all of the witnesses and victims in this case. Miss Ebony Wilkes, who's the owner of the daycare, stated that the defendant is always hanging around this area, talking to himself and acting irate. She stated that she believed the intended target was Miss Megan Bryant because the defendant likes her and she believes this is the reason he committed this act. She stated the children in her class are around the ages of 3 to 6 years old. And so that is, I think, very pertinent to this case. And she stated that she absolutely does not want this defendant back around the school. She also stated she had notified the parents of the children of this incident, and she gave the officer that information as well. We also spoke with Megan Bryant, who stated that she confirmed she was the intended target of the defendant, and that he comes around the daycare all the time looking through the windows and trying to get her attention. She stated also she does not want the defendant to be around the daycare due to him being a nuisance and due to this act. Finally, we spoke to Miss Wofford, who stated that she did see the defendant in a state of undress. She stated that he is always hanging around the area and that Miss Bryant did see the majority of it. Miss Bryant is here in court, and we would ask the judge to sound for her, as well as Miss Wofford and Miss Wilkes, to see if they would like to make a statement. The defendant does have one previous arrest from November of 2022 for a theft by shoplifting. An FTA was then issued for him January 13th, 2023 because he failed to appear. We are asking, and again, this is going to be a high bond, but that is because this happened in the presence of children ages 3 through 6 and definitely caused trauma to these kids. They were screaming, they were running, they had to be hustled back inside. We are asking for a $25,000 surety bond. We're asking for a stay away at least 200 yards from 7490 Old National Highway, Suite 600, the Young Leaders Academy daycare. We're asking for no further contact with Ebony Wilkes, Megan Bryant, Karen Wooford, and any individuals who work at the Young Leaders Academy daycare, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Miss Ebony Wilkes' first name is Ebonee. Megan Bryant is common spelling for both, and Miss Karen Wooford last name is Wooford. Thank you. Nothing further from the state.
One question, Ms. Falk. I am going to sound for each of the alleged victims.
Yes, Your Honor.
That address on Old National, is it alleged to be in a shopping center? Such that if I precluded him from the entire, are there any essential services, I guess would be my question, because I'm inclined to, of course, I will continue to hear the whole case, but I would like information if you have it about where that daycare center is located.
Your Honor, I believe it is, but if you can just give me a moment, I can look at that while you're speaking with Ms. Kim.
All right, thank you. Before I go to you, Ms. Kim, I'm gonna sound for the alleged victims. Ms. Wilkes, if you are present on this Zoom conference and wish to make a statement, this is your opportunity to do so. I would just need you to turn on your camera. All right, we don't hear from Ms. Wilkes. What about Ms. Wooford? If Ms. Wooford is on this Zoom conference and wishes to make a statement, this is your opportunity to speak. All right, and Ms. Bryant, I do see a Megan on the Zoom conference. Ms. Bryant, if you would like to make a statement, I would need you to turn on your camera such that I could place you under oath. You, however, are not required to speak at this Zoom conference if you do not wish to do so. All right, Ms. Kim, please proceed.
Yes, Mr. Stevens is 21 years old, Your Honor. He was born, he's from South Carolina, but he has been here for a long time. Your Honor, almost more than 5 years. About 2 years ago, he lost his mother to a cancer. And ever since then, he's been living with his grandmother. And he has not had any job, Your Honor, so he does not make any income. He completed up to 10th grade, and right now he is working on GED and Job Corps, but he has not completed them yet. Your Honor, we would like to request for a signature on bond. He has no financial means to make any kind of bond. He has no objection to stay away from that incident location, as no further contact with any of those witnesses or complaining witnesses. He has no objection to stay away and have no further contact with them. We would like to request for signature on bond. If not, Your Honor, maximum $1,000 good bond. Even that might become a no bond for him at this point. He's qualified for public defender services, so our office will continuously represent him. And that's it, Your Honor. Thank you.
Your Honor, I did have an opportunity to look into your question. It is part of a very large shopping center. There's a number of restaurants, bars, chiropractic center. The one thing I did see that might be considered an essential service is a Family Dollar. Otherwise, I didn't see anything that I believe, Your Honor, would designate as an essential service. I do just want to reiterate this defendant does have an FTA on the only other charge he's been arrested on that was just issued last month.
All right, at this time, defendant will receive a $15,000 surety bond. He's to stay away from the plaza in its entirety on Old National Highway, should he make that bond, and have no contact with any of the alleged victims in this case. Additionally, he's to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons as a condition of that surety bond. He will be reset to the state all-purpose calendar on the 16th as a reminder, whereby that surety bond can be revisited. Is there anything further?
Yes.
Your Honor,
Sir, I advise you to speak to Ms. Kim so that you don't infringe upon your right to remain silent. All right, if you have a question about the bond that's very limited, the court will hear it. Otherwise, the best thing for you to do is to speak to your attorney. What is your question or concern, Mr. Stevens?
Okay, my whole question concern is, I was okay, when I was at the plaza,
No. I do not want you to tell me what happened, because anything you say and do can be used against you. Please give your attorney a call, okay? Thank you.
Your Honor, may I please clarify the amount of the bond?
Yes. It's 15,000 surety.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
All right.
Nothing further from the state, Your Honor.
All right, best of luck to you, Mr. Stevens. Who do we have next?
Position 22, Mr. Todd.
All right, Mr. Todd, your case is 23 CR 000-675F. You're charged with making an electronic transmission of a nature that I will not sound. I'm sure the state may sound that, however, with the offense date of September the 2nd of 2021. Do you understand your rights here today?
yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Howard, can I please have Mr. Todd's history?
This 10th arrest. Last was 2003 parole violation. You want more?
No, that's fine, since it's remote. Ms. Falk?
Yes, Your Honor. This happened on September 2nd, 2021. The defendant sent a nude photo of Ms. Sheila Todd to Ms. Todd's boyfriend and asked him to post it on social media. The video showed Ms. Todd's body and was of a sexually explicit nature, and it was sent without her consent. It appears that Ms. Todd filed for the it's a private warrant. It appears she filed for it in 2021, but the warrant was actually, it does not appear was addressed until 2023. So she did do this contemporaneous with the incident actually happening. She did not delay in her reporting of this incident. Although the defendant does have a remote history, the state has some serious concerns about the nature of this offense and the fact that there is a dissemination of personal information belonging to Ms. Todd of an embarrassing nature that was meant to harass and intimidate her. There is a $7,500 surety bond already set in this case. The state would ask that the bond remain as set. We would also ask for no further contact with Ms. Sheila Todd, and that is Shelia, Todd, common last name, spelling, and no contact with her either by third party, social media, any other medium, as well as no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. That is all for the state.
What is the alleged relationship between the defendant and the victim?
It is unclear. We were not able to reach Ms. Todd, but we would ask that Your Honor sound for her. I will state with the same last name, I assumed there was some personal relationship of either a familiar or previous spouse. However, that is speculation because I do not have that additional information.
All right. I'm going to sound for Ms. Todd. If you're on this Zoom conference and wish to make a statement, this is your opportunity to speak. All right. Hearing none, Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Todd said that it is actually his ex-wife, Sheila, and my client denies the allegation, Your Honor. Mr. Todd is 54 years old, and he's been a crane operator for the last 20 years. He successfully graduated from high school, and he's gainfully employed. He's been a good citizen. They divorced. They don't have any relationship. They don't live together. They don't have any contact. My client believes this is false accusation against him. Your Honor, right now there is really high bond. We would like to request for a signature on bond, and yet if Your Honor is not inclined to give him a signature on bond because of the nature of the crime, we would like to request for a maximum $1,000 good bond. And I also want to put this on a record, Your Honor. Deputy Fox said that it was a trauma for the incident to be seen, even to be heard in this YouTube live can be traumatizing to some people. So I don't think I publicly object to the fact that it is too explicit about the nature of the offense in the public. That's all, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Kim. At this time, defendant will receive a $4,000 surety bond. He used to have no contact with Ms. Todd. And moreover, he used to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons as a condition. Is there anything further?
Your Honor, I would ask that include no third-party contact since this photo was sent to a third party of Ms. Todd's.
No contact by any means through another person, through the internet, email, phone, letter. Don't even look at her while this case is pending. Mr. Todd, I seriously suggest that you do not make any statements. And if you have questions that you speak to Ms. Kim, I will hear something very limited. If it's a question about your bond, what's your question?
Oh, honestly, I'm gonna be honest with you. Since she been playing these games since 20.
No. I don't want you to be honest with me. Do you have a question about the bond?
Look bad. Okay, no mind, no.
Okay, because I don't want you to say, you don't know what you might say that ends up being used against you. This is not evidentiary hearing. This is a bond hearing, okay?
Okay.
So your case will be reset to the state all-purpose calendar on the 16th. Please speak with Ms. Kim about any defenses or concerns you may have, okay?
All right.
All right, best of luck to you. All right, can we now go into the breakout for case 23 CR 0000685F, the case of Ashley Achilles, I believe. I may not be saying that correctly, but that's position 1.
You want the history?
Yes, give us a history. That will be informative.
It's a 10th arrest. Last was 2017 probation violation, suspended license. 2017 FTA, 2016 driving without a valid license conviction. 2015 trespass, simple battery DV conviction out of Douglas County. 2015 she had a battery DV. It was amended to disorderly conduct conviction out of Cobb. I think that's it. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. All right, can we go into the breakout, please? And I'm assuming it'll be Ms. Falk, Ms. Kim. Does Ms. Dillingham or Ms. Lewis need to join us, Ms. Falk? Or
Not
will it
unless
just
they
be-
want to.
Anyone is welcome to join. Ms. Gant, if she would like to join, you're welcome as well. Otherwise, it just be Ms. Kim, myself, and Ms. Falk and Ms. Bridgewater, please.
I do not need to join, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right. Ms. Bridgewater, will you see if Mr. Jordan will place us into the breakouts, please? Thank you.
Sorry, Judge. Who do you need to break out room with?
Just me, Ms. Falk, and Ms. Kim. All right, at this time, defendant is gonna receive a $3,500 surety bond. It'll be 3,000 on count one, 500 on count two. She's to have no further contact with alleged victim, last name doctor, and stay away from the incident location. Additionally, she's to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. And as discussed in breakout, there will be the other conditions will be addressed in the order. Is there anything further from either the state or the defense?
What's the bond?
3,500, 3,000, count one, 500, count two.
Okay, thank
That's
you,
a good bond?
That's a good bond, yes.
thank you.
All right, courtroom 3 can be excused, and I believe that concludes our entire SEA calendar. Ms. Bridgewater, will you please review it for me?
Hold on. What happened to La France?
I have released.
Okay.
Yes, Your Honor. It'll be
I
my
have that as
pleasure.
well.
Okay. Once again, the reset date for the SAP calendar is going to be February the 16th. Position number 1 is going to the SAP calendar with a $3,500 good bond. Position 2 is going to the SAP calendar with a $2,500 total good bond. Position 3 was released. Position 4 reset to the SAP calendar with a total $500 good bond. Position 5 reset further notice with a $2,000 total SOB through the jail. Position 6 reset further notice with a total $3,000 SOB through the jail. Position 7 is going to the SAP calendar with a total $2,000 good bond. Position 8 reset further notice with a $2,500 SOB through pretrial. Position 9 is reset further notice with a total $3,000 SOB through the jail. Position 10 reset further notice with a $2,000 SOB through pretrial. Position 11 was released. Position 12 is going to the SAP calendar with a $1,500 good bond. Position 13 is going to the SAP calendar with a $4,000 good bond. Position 14 is reset further notice with a $2,000 SOB through pretrial. Position 15 is reset further notice with a $1,000 SOB through pretrial. Position 16 reset further notice with a total $1,500 SOB through the jail. Position 17 reset further notice with a $5,000 total SOB through pretrial per judge. Position 18 reset to the SAP calendar with a total $7,000 good bond. Position 19 is reset further notice with a $3,000 SOB through pretrial per judge. Position 20 is going to the SAP calendar with a $15,000 good bond. 21 is going to the SAP calendar with a $4,000 good bond. Position 22 is going to the SAP calendar with a $4,000 good bond. And position 23, reset further notice with a total $3,000 SOB through the jail. Are there any questions, comments, or otherwise? Awesome.
Hey, what you say about number 3?
About number 3, number 3 is, it was released. I'm sorry, he was released. So it's being reset further notice.
All right. Hearing no further comments, changes, or corrections, we will be in recess until tomorrow's SCA calendar. I'm not sure. All right, you all take care. Have a great rest of your afternoon and stay safe in all this bad weather.
Yes. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
That's all.